Hello and welcome to Volt Holocron, where we dare to discover what if. Today I will cover what if Ben Solo never defected to the dark side. This what if assumes Grogu's blood was used to make Palpatine in the main timeline. So, the original plan for this video was what if Grogu was executed in Order 66. However, I believe the most significant change due to this action would be Ben Solo never turning to the dark side. This what if will have 3 parts. You can see the parts using the chapters. First, Grogu is killed during Order 66. Yes, very sad. Anyway, this means Din Djarin never has his adventure with Grogu, and in this timeline he's just a bounty hunter, and doesn't get all of Clan Mudhorn killed. However, more importantly, the Empire can't get blood from Grogu to help make their Palpatine clone. Unfortunately, I do not believe this would mean that Snoke and Palpatine would cease to occur. Assuming that the First Order or the Empire remnants need blood with a high midichlorian count, I believe Ben Solo would be their best bet, and although Ben would be well protected, I believe that eventually they would succeed in their goal. We don't really know how long it took to make Snoke or Palpatine in the actual timeline, but in this case the First Order has been delayed by about 10 years, giving Ben more training and no longer having him turn to the dark side. Due to this, the Jedi Order would currently be starting to get a bit bigger, and Luke would not be in isolation. So, the First Order would be building itself up, and now with Snoke they would have more resources than ever. In this timeline, Ben Solo would still have Snoke's voice in his head, just he gains it at an older age, meaning he doesn't trust it as much. Now that Snoke could not convince Ben to turn to the dark side, he would resort to converting a few of the Padawans which Luke would be training. After a while, Snoke would convince a few of the Padawans to help destroy the Jedi Order, with help from the Knights of Ren. While this is happening, Snoke would distract Ben Solo by leading him astray with the voice in his head, leaving Luke alone with non-converted students to fight off the attack. Inevitably, Luke would lose. However, due to his student Ben Solo, he would not isolate himself, but work to redeem his lost students and take down the First Order. Ben and Luke would use Leia's and the Resistance's help attacking the First Order bases until they find Starkiller Base, which would be near completion. Although under very different circumstances, FN-2187, also known as Finn, would end up joining the Resistance after running away from the First Order on a mission and meeting up with Resistance members. Now the Resistance needs to work out how to destroy Starkiller Base and call a meeting like the one seen in The Force Awakens. They eventually come up with the idea of getting through the shields using lightspeed travel, disabling the shields and blowing up the base. Luke, Ben, Han, Leia, Chewie, Arthur and Finn enter through the shields, while Poe Dameron and the other pilots are ready to attack the base from above. Luke, Ben and Leia separate off from Han, Finn and Chewie. Han, Finn and Chewie quickly disable the shields like in The Force Awakens, while Luke, Ben and Leia make their way to the turned students. The pilots mount their attack on the base with no avail, causing Han, Chewie and Finn to start placing bombs around the inside. Now Luke, Han and Leia come face to face with the former students. Ben appeals to them saying that they should come back and train with him and Luke again, and that they are being misled. The students say that Snoke doesn't hold back or keep information from them. Luke says that he was trying to pace them and that patience is needed. The dark side will get a quick result at the cost of the well-being of others. Then one of the students say that if the death of innocence maintains peace, then it is worth it. They then erupt into battle, Luke easily dealing with a group of them, and Ben fighting against 2, struggling but overall winning. Meanwhile, Leia defends them from stormtroopers, using the Force and her blaster in conjunction. After a short while, Luke and Ben detain all the former students, and Han, Finn and Chewie have placed all the bombs, both groups making their way to the Millennium Falcon. They leave, blowing up the base. Luke approaches Finn on the Millennium Falcon, saying that the Force is strong with Finn, and despite usually training people from a younger age, he believes that Finn would make a great Jedi. Finn says that he will think about it. Not long after they arrive at the Resistance base, they leave to escape the First Order. The First Order are able to track them through hyperspace. The students are placed into a makeshift cell. The Resistance know that they are essentially waiting until they run out of fuel and die. Ben speaks to Luke about visions he is having about a desert planet with a giant star destroyer and a scavenger girl. Luke says that it sounds like Jakku. Luke and Ben sense that Snoke is most likely on the ship following them. Luke and Ben say that they will track down Snoke and stop him so that the Resistance can escape. But Leia doesn't approve of their mission, saying that if they don't find Snoke, the Resistance will have to fend for itself without two of its best members. Han says that he will take a small group onto the ship with Ben and Luke in an attempt to sabotage it, while the First Order is distracted with Ben and Luke. One of the prisoners say that they know the way to Snoke and will take Luke and Ben to Snoke. Leia approves on the mission. The mission team fly onto the ship, raising alarms. However, the former student pretends that he brought Luke and Ben on as prisoners, showing his ID. It is this reason why the First Order don't check the ship for other people. Luke and Ben descend to go see Snoke. Once they enter, Ben is thrown up into the air and held in place by Snoke, who takes Ben's lightsaber, giving it to the former student Luke took with them. Luke force pushes the student to the side and demands for Snoke to put Ben down, but Snoke just cackles with laughter. Luke ignites his emerald lightsaber, running at Snoke. The Praetorian Guards launch into action, but Snoke forces them to stand down, effortlessly firing lightning at Luke, who deflects it. Luke uses the Force to pull the red walls in on Snoke. Ben drops to the ground and runs in to help Luke, only to be stopped by the former student. Ben fights the student with his fists, dodging saber swings. Meanwhile, Luke and Snoke bounce around, breaking up the floor and ceiling and throwing rubble at each other. Ben finally wins against the student, knocking them to the floor. Suddenly, the student is pulled towards Snoke, who calls him a failure and then chokes him to death and grabs the lightsaber, launching himself at Luke. Ben attacks a Praetorian guard, stealing the weapon and impaling the guard. Luke and Snoke move at lightning-fast speeds, clashing blades and dodging debris. The rest of the Praetorian guards approach Ben, and he stands ready for combat. Luke calls to Ben, telling him to run and distract the First Order. Luke gets slashed on the arm by Snoke and screams, "There's no choice! Take this ship down and I'll ensure Snoke goes down with it." Ben fights some of the Praetorian guards, but they easily overpower him with their numbers. Reluctantly, Ben runs to the lift, crumpling it and scurrying up the lift shaft. Ben runs to the bridge of the ship, attacking waves of stormtroopers. Seeing the distraction, Han, Chewie, Finn and the crew work on sabotaging the ship. Ben escapes and meets Han and the crew at the shuttle. Han asks where Luke is, and Ben says that the only way they can beat Snoke and save the Resistance is to take the ship down while Luke fights Snoke. Han states that he won't allow this to happen. Ben shouts, "What are you going to do?" Han says, "Use the Force," only to be knocked out by Ben, which says he won't lose to anyone else. The ship explodes, Snoke and Luke fighting inside, and the Resistance is saved. Ben breaks the news to Leia, who weeps with Ben. Luke presents himself to Ben as a Force ghost and tells him that he is the last Jedi and must train Finn. It is now a few years down the line, with the First Order still in power, but with Hux in control. Ben has been training Finn with the help of Luke's Force Ghost and is honing in on his skills. Luke instructs Ben to look into the Force and connect with all of the Jedi now within it. Ben says that he was barely able to conjure Luke and requires more training. Ben then speaks to Luke about the visions of the scavenger girl which are now becoming more frequent. Meanwhile, Han, Leia, Chewbacca, R2-D2 and C-3PO are sneaking through a First Order base to steal the designs for a new cruiser. They take out stormtroopers and stealthily make their way into the room of Enric Pride, where R2-D2 downloads the data. They go to escape, but are seen by Enric Pride, leading to them being chased onto their escape vessel. They take damage, but manage to jump to light speed, and to get away in time. While this is happening, Finn runs through the jungle of Agent Kloss, dodging traps and stray bolts from a Marksman H training remote. Finn then makes his way up to a reconstructed Jedi training droid. These were used by the Jedi in the past to train Jedi and could change their appearance using a holoprojector. Finn runs into battle with it, blocking strikes and overpowering it quickly. Suddenly, Han, Leia, Chewbacca, R2-D2 and C-3PO fly into the sky of Agent Kloss on a First Order troop transport shuttle, burning up. Finn looks up at the sky, causing him to be struck in the back by the Jedi training droid. Ben disables the droid and then says, "You are strong with the Force, but you are not a Jedi yet. You became distracted. Never let your guard down." Finn replies, "Yes, but there was a First Order shuttle entering the atmosphere." Ben then says, "In a real battle, you would most likely have died. That ship is not your concern yet. You can't become a Jedi unless you focus your mind. That is when you will pass the Jedi trials." Han, Leia, Chewbacca, R2-D2 and C-3PO crash land but are okay. In the evening, the Resistance goes through the stolen data, revealing the First Order have made a ship which can destroy planets like the Death Star. Leia says that they would be able to take down one or two of these, but not multiple. Ben tells her that he will meditate on it. In meditation, Ben calls upon Luke, asking for help. Luke tells Ben that he will help connect Ben with Anakin, but that he is only able to help due to Agent Kloss being strong with the Force, and that Ben will have to learn for himself someday. Ben then sees Anakin and says, "Grandfather, I need your help. The First Order has grown beyond the capabilities of the Resistance." Anakin tells him about the Sith Wayfinders, and that one is on Mustafar. Ben asks why Anakin never told Luke, with Anakin responding that just as Qui-Gon couldn't prevent Order 66, he can't stop these events, and that whether the First Order reigns or doesn't relies on Ben now. Ben then goes to speak with Leia, telling her about the Wayfinder and Mustafar. Reluctantly, Leia agrees on getting the Wayfinder, stating that Anakin's information is supported by the increasing presence of the First Order on Mustafar. After a meeting, Leia decides on sending a small group into Mustafar in disguise and smuggling the Wayfinder out as part of a stealth mission. The decided team is Leia, Han, Chewbacca and Lando. Ben says that they will need him, but Leia says that she will upload the data from the Wayfinder and that the mission is a suicide mission and she can't risk the life of her son, especially when he may be the Resistance's last hope. Ben asks how Leia will get Lando's help, to which she replies that he helped the rebellion and Luke. There's a good chance he'll help here too. All of a sudden, a broadcast beams out from all directions.
At last the work of generations is complete. The great error is corrected. The day of victory is at hand. The day of revenge. The day of the Sith.
People do not believe that Palpatine has returned, but it confirms their data is correct and that they must stop the new ships from being used. Leia, Han and Chewie leave to go get Lando. Ben and Finn carry on their training, and Ben meets with Luke telling him to go to Dagobah and send Finn into the Cave of Evil, so that he will learn to overcome his greatest fear. Later, Ben and Finn arrive at Dagobah, where Luke guides Ben to the Cave of Evil. Finn enters the cave, seeing nothing but darkness, until Ben Solo runs in, screaming for him to leave, just before being struck down by a crimson blade. Finn looks ahead to see Palpatine in front of a legion of stormtroopers. Palpatine tells Finn that his resistance is futile, and that nobody beats the programming of the First Order, and that Finn will serve a greater purpose. Finn looks down to see a stormtrooper outfit on him. His head darts up to see himself marching into a village, shooting everyone he can see, not just the men, but the women and the children too. Finn collapses to the floor sobbing as the cave turns to darkness again. He runs out of the cave hugging Ben, saying, "You're alive," over and over again. Ben says that what Finn saw in the cave is not real, and that Finn must now overcome what he saw, level his mind and trust in the Force. Elsewhere, Han, Leia and Chewie converge on Pasaana. After some time they find Lando and offer him one last mission, the mission to end all missions. Lando says that he's too old for this, but would never stand back while his friends put themselves in danger. Now inside their ship, Ben and Finn receive intel that Lando is ready, and that they should get ready to receive the information. After a while, Leia, Han, Chewie and Lando arrive at Mustafar, looking upon the leagues of stormtroopers standing in the ash. They listen in on two stormtroopers talking to each other. One stormtrooper asks the other if they heard about the Wayfinder device being found an hour ago, and that it was hidden by the Mustafarians in an attempt to stop the First Order. The other asks why they need it when they already have the information from it. Leia then tells the mission crew that they must be trying to prevent the Resistance from finding it. Han says that they will need to extract the information from a high up in the First Order. They then see Enric Prive arrive on a shuttle with a bunch more stormtroopers. Leia says that Enric Prive should know where the Wayfinder is being held. They then attack the stormtroopers and grab Pride, demanding that he tell them where the Wayfinder is. Pride tells them that he is loyal to his Emperor and would die before telling them. Leia sighs and then raises her hand, saying, "You will tell us where to find the Wayfinder." Pride then tells them that it is at the top of the fortress. Leia then motions her hand again, saying, "You will help us get there," to which Pride agrees. Leia, Han and Lando are all in stormtrooper outfits, but obviously Chewbacca can't hide that way, and so they find a crate and store Chewbacca inside it. After some time they reach the top of the fortress, only to see stormtroopers swarm in the area. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the fortress, thousands prepare to prevent the escape. Pride then laughs, stating that he would never fail his Emperor, only to be shot square in the chest by Han Solo. Suddenly, all of the stormtroopers start firing, easily outnumbering Leia, Han, Lando and Chewie, even with Leia using the Force, but they fight on. They have to, for the galaxy. All of a sudden, a stray bolt implants itself into Han's chest, knocking him to the ground. Leia kneels down, holding Han's hand as he dies, while Chewbacca goes berserk. Then, full of rage, Leia throws the endless wave of stormtroopers all over the place, and stopping each blaster bolt with the Force. In her rage, Leia draws in pieces of rock and stone, restoring the dark side portal Vader destroyed all those years ago. Then, with the portal restored, Leia taps into it, causing lava to rise up all around the fortress, smothering the thousands of stormtroopers at the bottom of the fortress. Meanwhile, Lando and Chewie shoot the remaining stormtroopers at the top. Leia then collapses to the ground, sobbing. Lando tells her that she's safe now, the Wayfinder is found, and that they can escape. But Leia replies that she is a failure, then dying. Lando and Chewie go to transmit the Wayfinder information, but find that they can't work out how to receive and transmit the directions from it. Lando and Chewie run back to the Millennium Falcon, where they input the Wayfinder and send out a beacon for Ben, Finn and the Resistance to follow. The Resistance have sent Admiral Holdo to collect allies. Ben and Finn arrive at Exegol and make their way down to Palpatine. Palpatine angrily says, "Your stubbornness will only shorten your lifespan." Palpatine pushes Ben and Finn to the ground, bombarding them with debris. Ben and Finn lay trapped with only their heads free. Then the Knights of Ren, holding the scavenger girl Ben had visions of, enter, throwing Rey onto the floor and leaving. Rey and Ben look at each other, recognizing each other. Using the Force, Palpatine lifts up some of the rubble on Ben and passes Ben's lightsaber to Rey, saying, "Now you shall strike me down." However, Rey senses the fear and pain in Ben, as he wishes her not to kill Palpatine, knowing there must be a plan to his death. Palpatine then yells, "Strike me down and you will become the most powerful being in the galaxy. You could save everyone." Rey lifts the lightsaber up. While this is happening, the Resistance forces, Lando and Chewie, fight the Imperial forces. Rey then places the lightsaber behind her back, allowing Ben to grab it and break free. Palpatine then hurls more debris at Ben, who this time slices and dodges them for a while before being hit in the leg. Palpatine then lifts up Rey and Ben, saying, "A Force dyad."
The power of two restores the one true Emperor.
Palpatine, now restored to power, launches Ben down a pit, saying,
"As once I fell, so falls the last Skywalker."
Finn then wriggles his hand to his lightsaber and grabs it, turning it on and launching it towards Palpatine with the Force. Palpatine, in his arrogance, doesn't notice the blade until it is too late, being impaled in the stomach. However, it would take a lot more to destroy Palpatine. Palpatine screams at Finn that he will suffer for this, striking Finn with Force lightning. Elsewhere, Ben lays on a piece of rock sticking out into the pit. He searches into the Force, asking for the help of every single Jedi. He then hears voices. Meanwhile, Holdo arrives with thousands of ships, backing up the failing Resistance. Now Palpatine stops electrocuting Finn and tells him to watch his friends die as he hurtles lightning into the air at all of the ships. Rey, angry with this, runs and grabs Ben's lightsaber, which dropped while he was falling down the pit, ready to strike Palpatine down, only to be held back as Ben reveals himself with all of the Jedi inside him. Palpatine, noticing the threat, now fires all of the Force lightning he can at Ben. Ben dodges the Force lightning and then Force grabs both of the lightsabers, placing them in an X position. Now he deflects Palpatine's lightning back, disintegrating Palpatine. This allows the Resistance to beat the opposing forces. Now with the galaxy free, Ben starts up training, Finn becomes a Jedi Knight, and Rey starts her training. The galaxy is free. I hope you enjoyed the What If. We hope to see you here again at Vault Holocron. Bye.